late this year. But what's the point anyway? Just the mediocrity of my waking days, an inevitable slide into a depression-driven near catatonia from which I will never recover. Ken, just leave me alone, will you? It's bad enough I have next to no ideas for new videos. And it's not like anyone actually watches them. Occasionally. But I feel like it's getting kind of pointless. So, what? You're essentially saying that we're all just killing time until time kills us. That's depressing as fuck. It's easier said than done. Wait, you mean... Gundam FIght? Ready? Go! Jiff here, and it's time at long last for another season of Otaku Evolution. I've taken more time off than I usually do, but I'm back and ready to tackle more animated fun from the land of the rising sun. Make sure to like, subscribe, and contribute to my Patreon. We're back in the Gundam franchise in these next two videos, taking on the first alternate universe Gundam anime, Yasuhiro Imagawa's super fun mobile fighter G Gundam. Imagawa was originally slated to direct a series called Pulsarino Gundam, but with the popularity of the franchise dwindling somewhat, Bandai and Sunrise decided to go with a show that would be aimed at younger kids and increase toy sales by having more different kinds of robots. Taking influence from world cinema, and specifically Chinese wuxia, go see my giant robo video, Imagawa constructed a series that was quite unconventional for Gundam, but one that he was ultimately proud to have made. G Gundam emphasizes over-the-top theatrics and martial arts action, and its aesthetic is very eclectic and colorful. Instead of tense political drama and overt war themes, it has an understated environmental message, and loves to parade its good-humored national stereotypes to create a lighter atmosphere. In this first part, I'll talk about the premise of the show and some of its characters. Some spoilers may apply, so if you've never seen this show, it might be a good idea to go check it out. The Blu-rays are out, and the Japanese version is streaming on Crunchyroll. The English dub aired back in the day on Toonami, so I guess remember that if you can't afford the Blu-rays? Shut up! In the year Future Century 60, mankind has mostly abandoned Earth to a handful of impractical-looking space colonies. International conflicts are avoided by holding a tournament every 4 years called the Gundam FIght, in which one country's representative, fighting in a giant robot, triumphs over the others, and thus chooses which nation controls space. The battles are all held planet-side, though, leaving the place a burning ruined heap of garbage. Our main character, Domon Kasshu, fights on behalf of Neo-Japan, both to represent his country of origin, as well as track down a mysterious figure from his past that has betrayed his country and fled with an experimental Gundam to Earth. While traveling the Earth, challenging various other mobile fighters, Domon, in his Shining Gundam and later in the God Gundam, finds himself making rivals into allies, and finds former allies turning enemies, all as he battles and trains to be the #1 fighter in the world. But he finds the Gundam fight is more complicated than he anticipated. High-octane action and melodrama ensue. Just look at this glorious ridiculousness! You won't find this in other Gundam shows, and while that may or may not be a good thing, it's certainly worth watching here if you ask me.
Take a look now! The next Gundam is the powerful Zeus Gundam from Neo, Greece! It's truly majestic, isn't it? Next, we have the Hurricane Gundam from Neo, Holland! We'll see how fearsome its tremendous windmill is. This next Gundam is sure to show us great power. Toro Gundam from Neo, Spain. Gundam Viking from Neo, Norway has sailed the 7 seas to join us here. Neo, Nepal, Mandela Gundam. Neo, Denmark, Mermaid Gundam. Neo, India, Cobra Gundam. Neo, Kenya, Gundam Zebra.
Domon is a moody, stubborn martial artist who hates to ask for assistance, but while he can be rather grumpy, has a soft spot or two and has a moral compass. He carries the moniker of King of Hearts, a title he inherited from his great teacher, Master Asia. As time goes on, he learns to play better with others, letting go of preconceived notions and letting himself be helped. I wouldn't call him my favorite Gundam protagonist, but I do enjoy his feistiness and ability to endure. Assisting Domon as his support crew is Rain Mikimura, his friend and later love interest. She is very resourceful and generally very well disposed to people, but can be just as stubborn as Domon at times, and early on suffers from a lack of characterization. It's later on when we get to the Gundam FIght finals that we get more of a picture of who Rain is and what she and Domon mean to each other. Theirs might be the most believable and well-written romance in the Gundam franchise, though the bar isn't very high. Domon comes across all kinds of colorful Gundam fighters as he traverses the planet, all approximating their own unique, concepts. For instance, Chibodate Crockett from Neo America is a boastful, showboating boxer with a cadre of beautiful women at his beck and call. His Gundam Maxter looks like a football player. Neo China's Sai Saishi fights in his Dragon Gundam with the ambition of restoring the Shaolin Temple. The fighter for Neo France is a chivalrous pretty boy named George Desand and pilots the Gundam Rose, which resembles a Napoleonic soldier. And the enormous, intimidating prisoner fighter Argo Golski is a representative of Neo Russia and pilots the Bolt Gundam. Noticing a pattern? I mean, for goodness sake, there's a sombrero-wearing Mexican Gundam called Tequila Gundam. And a Canadian Gundam fighter, a lumberjack named Andrew Graham, who pilots the Lumber Gundam. There should have been a Neo Antarctica with a Penguin Gundam. The Germans, for some reason, have a ninja. I guess that one doesn't fit a stereotype. Otherwise we'd get like Strudel Gundam, Oktoberfest Gundam, or, well, you know, it's Germany.
Ooh, the Germans are mad at me. I'm so scared. Ooh, the Germans. Uh-oh, the Germans are coming to get me.
Stop teasing us.
Oh, don't let the Germans come after me.
Please stop the pretending you're
the
scared
Germans are
game.
coming
Stop
after
it.
me. Oh, no, they're so big and
Stop
strong.
it,
Mr.
Oh,
Burns.
protect me
Pretending
from
you're
the
scared of
Germans,
us,
the
please.
Germans.
Burns, stop it!
But But of course, the most badass character, in terms of sheer awesome combat power, and possibly the most badass character in all of Gundam, is the one, the only, the undefeated of the East, Master Asia. This is a guy who can take on giant robots without even piloting one. I'm guessing he only pilots a mobile suit now and then, just to give his enemies a chance at a fair fight. Master Asia is the guy who taught Domon everything he knows about martial arts, and joins the fight against the dreaded Devil Gundam, or Dark Gundam in the English dub. Well, he appears to join the fight at first, but in actuality he's working with the Devil Gundam to get rid of humanity on Earth. Why? I'll get into that stuff later. Few Gundam characters, no, few anime characters, leave as big an impression as Master Asia, who seems to steal the show whenever he's around. It helps that in Japanese, he's played by Yosuke Akimoto, who played villain Alberto in Giant Robo. The English dub voice is decent enough too, even though he can't hold a candle to Akimoto. I'll go into the dub later. Master Asia's main mobile suit is the Master Gundam, which looks like an upgraded Griffin from the Patlabor TV series. I like to think that G Gundam is in the future of Patlabor, and most of the damage said to be done by the Gundam fights was actually done by Special Vehicle Section 2 Unit 2. One of my other favorite characters is Allenby Beardsley, the fighter from Neo Sweden who pilots the Nobel, or Noble, Gundam, which looks suspiciously like a certain transforming magical girl. She loves a good scrap and is a fairly easygoing, fun-loving gal. Domon's first meeting with her at a video arcade is reminiscent of Maximilia's meeting in the original Macross.
Big Brother 2, ready, go!
Here I come.
Wow, she's fast.
You're kidding. He managed to dodge me.
Looks like I can't afford to take this fight lightly. Not bad.
This guy's pretty good.
Unfortunately for Allenby, her support crew have technology that can trigger a berserker rage in her during battle, which she does not care for, even if it is somewhat effective. She'd rather fight on her own, which is respectable, though I think the berserker thing is also pretty neat. But anyway, there's a character that has a special interest in Allenby, and he just happens to be my favorite character in the show, even more than Master Asia. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the floaty chair, Prime Minister Wang Yunfa, leader of the nation that won the last Gundam fight, Neo Hong Kong, which I guess got its independence from China at some point, and therefore leader of the world. Wang is a shady, slimy, slippery bastard, a smug, sassy, and frankly stylish baddie that I just love to see at work. Well, by work, it's mostly just him setting up matches and making snide remarks, but he's got bigger plans than just throwing a wrench in Domon's perfect record, and they involve the Devil, or Dark, Gundam, whatever. I love this smarmy prick.
You almost ended up making Domon a fatality, Mr. Wong.
Our main objective has always been to determine who the strongest fighter is. If Domon is defeated, then we simply shift our focus onto the fighter who beat him, right?
So you're saying that you understand what true strength is, Wong?
You've been pushing for Domon more than necessary. I guess ties between teacher and pupil are hard to sever.
Garbage! He and I are sworn enemies.
Well then, I'm sure you won't have any problem with the final matchup that I've arranged for him.
There's plenty of other characters too, just none worth elaborating on. Chairman Karato, Dr. Mikamura, Major Alube, who ends up being more nefarious than he appears, Chibide's ladies, George's butler, Argo's handler Natasha, Gentle Chapman, the guy from Neo Turkey, the guy who introduces every episode, I think his name is Stalker, and others. None of them are particularly important, but Natasha's pretty hot, but they're there. Next time on the G Gundam review, we'll take a look at some of the concepts, themes, and mecha of the series. Why break this up into 2 parts? Because fuck you is why! Hey, there's a lot of ground to cover in G Gundam. It's 49 episodes, And I tend to start off the year with 2-part reviews anyway. So I'll see you all back here next time for more Otaku Evolution. Until then, see ya!
I want you to remember that no bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country.